Haunted by a face. Okay. The other day I was looking at some interviews online with some researchers and one that's writing a book about MILABs and her experiences and whatnot. And she said that MILABs, which are military abductees, where the military has the co-op program where they have people that are in the program and they abduct them in the night for whatever reason, be it because they're already alien victims and they're getting information or whatever. And she said that MILABs cannot remember anything except with hypnosis. And I sat there and I was like, oh, bull. Total bull. Total bull. It's harder to remember things. Hypnosis helps, but it's such an erroneous statement and it's such a misfeed, and it's a shame that no one sees my channel to see this. Okay, you can remember stuff without hypnosis, like the time that I woke up in the middle of being quote-unquote gathered to go to work, or the other time where I woke up right after having the implant removed from my finger. And then there's this other time where they put something in my ear, and and I mean there's been, yeah, no, I mean a lot of it's circumstantial evidence, and then there's the rest, and then there's the rest. You just gotta learn how to pay attention and listen to yourself and learn how to gather things from yourself. So whatever don't absolutely need is hypnosis. Well, I'm pretty sure that there are a lot more people out there that are like me, where no one will help, or we don't have the money to pay someone, or we aren't sensational enough or special enough, or our views are just off enough that they don't trust us enough to keep a conversation going, because oh knows, we don't agree with them about something small, like, oh, I don't know, ETs are not gods or something, because they're not. And we have to do everything by ourselves, and we have to heal by ourselves, and we have to get our pieces together by ourselves. And the method I chose to get my act together was to get my information and my memories back so that I could come to an understanding. And it has worked very well. I had one person who is a notable researcher and therapist that said that, that told me I was wrong to want to gather the information, that I should deal with the feelings. But the thing about coming to an understanding is the feelings can settle. And you're like, okay, I'm sad this happened, but I know why. And it settles because it's a complete picture. Dun, dun, dun. So I've been doing it by myself for something like 30 years, without hypnosis. And this is why I come to Haunted by a Face. It's the best way I can describe this confirmation that I got quite recently. Haunted by a face. So you're a kid and you've got this counsel that you're talking to all the time, and you don't quite understand it when you're a kid. When you're later, you figure out, oh, I've got a set of 12, and over here I've got a set of 7, and over here I've got a set of 3. And little phrases like, it's tea time, which you joke with your friends, you come to realize, oh, you're remembering a culture thing. Little things like that. But through it all, there's this common theme. And for me, the common theme was I was this person. I didn't have a name for this person. I had a made-up name that I had made up because my older brother tried to force me to say my name, and that's one thing you're trained not to do, is have a name and say a name. So I made up one. And for a while they believed it was real, but whatever. And I knew my face, and so I drew this face, and it got later connected to, oh, well, then later on there's this other face. And these faces haunt you. Well, as you go along, as I went along, it was kind of like the Hobbit LOTR. Hobbit LOTR. The Hobbit's a great book, but LOTR happens later, even though it was written first. And so it's the bigger story to people. So that's how it kind of happened to me. I had my Hobbit life that was my origin, and then I had my LOTR life. And the LOTR life became the face that I started hunting for everywhere and drawing everywhere and missing because it was a very important life to me. And I knew deep down inside that really the two kind of went together, because I would not have had my LOTR life had I not had my Hobbit life, the beginning to the middle, because right now I'm past the middle, so because I acted as one because of the other, and I remembered them. And it's every lifetime I don't always remember, but this is two lives that were very connected and knew each other and remembered. So we'll just call this one blue and this one red. So I started looking and drawing, and all these years since I was a kid, I've always known, because my counsel, spirit guides, whatever you want to call them, however you perceive things like that, they told me, well, there's a photo of you and you're in history. All you gotta do is look. But you can't look right away, they told me. First thing you have to do is never say who you are really. You can admit that you're a quote-unquote princess, you know, just like everybody else does. But you can't really say who you are. You have to keep it to yourself because it's going to come out in time. You will find yourself in the history books and the recordings, but you're not allowed to look, because if you do, you might fool yourself. And do not force it. Now, I broke the third rule and had a minor nervous breakdown, so I can tell you the other two that I had been following, after that, I followed religiously. Okay? So I did say, yeah, it was this person, yay, and during, when everybody else around me was going, I was a princess, I'm the one true princess, no, I'm the one true princess, and I was like, yeah, I'm a princess, because that's, one of the first phases in this kind of growth is you tend to want to grasp onto something special because you want to feel special and you think you're special. And by the way, telling yourself that you're not a noble person because everybody else is being a noble person is just the same thing, because you're trying to stand out and be special. So sorry, has nothing to do with the rank you choose. It has everything to do with ego. It's a good thing that I never stepped forward and said, I am the great princess of the sun, or whatever. Because your understanding of the information you have 20 years before is going to be incomplete. 20 years later, you're going to have even more information. You're going to realize, okay, not really. It's like that time I thought I was Lucifer. I didn't start out thinking I was Lucifer, but I was hitting this phase where it was no longer necessary for me to quote-unquote stay hidden. And so I publicly made an announcement, I'm here. Basically, that's all it was, is, yo, I'm here. Oh my gosh, the things that happened because of that. I was getting astrally attacked and physically attacked left and right. And my favorite is, I was outside of my body, hanging out in my living room, and this samurai came to my front door. He looked at me, I looked at him. We bowed and then leapt into battle. I woke up the next day with scratches all over my face. I have no idea who won. Okay? I have no idea. Love to know. So if you're out there, let me know. And be convincing if you're saying it was you, okay? So it was stuff like that. That was when I first became aware of what I call the fishbowl, the Great Council, because I got stuck on the sands because it's this test you go through. We'll cover it another day. And I started getting psychically attacked almost every night by this group of people. It started out to be 2 or 3, then it grew to 6, then it grew to 12, and always at the middle was this woman with red hair sitting at a desk dictating them, and they were going through you know how like you perceive yourself as a house and your world as a house. They were going through the house, ransacking things and attacking me, or I'd be, dreaming I'm walking down the road and they'd attack me, and then I went to a party with some of the local metaphysicals that I thought were my friends, and there was the woman, and I can remember getting told, yeah, she's and she was like, yeah, well, we've been having group things. We've been attacking Lucifer because Lucifer is somewhere in the city. It's like, So yeah, that'll convince you you're Lucifer. But really, what it turns out is people don't know how to read energy as well as they think they do, and you know, there's countless times that people mistake me for being dark. But anyway, so you know that's phase one, you know, or one of the early phases, and so it's a good thing that I never stood up and said yo, because you know people also will invalidate you. You stand up and say I'm Joan of Arc, and somebody's going like yeah right, you know, and I mean, I confided in someone I thought was my friend that I was pretty sure I was Lucifer because everything that was going on, and she was like, well, that's a little self-centered, isn't it? And it's like, gee, thanks, whore. So, you know, so that advice was sound advice. If you think you're Jesus Christ, keep it to yourself, because wait 20 years. If you really are Jesus Christ, you know, it'll confirm itself. Incidentally, you know, I did indeed go through a phase where I was telling people I was Jesus Christ within my friends because it was a funny joke. I happen to know the truth about the whole sun rising up after 3 days thing. So I never have been serious about being Jesus Christ. But so advice number one. So then advice number two, don't go looking for yourself in books when you haven't got a freaking clue. There was someone I knew. Now she was an attention hound. I'll give her that. And like the time she fake channeled yet smoked the cigarettes the same way. I mean, there's just the way she smoked cigarettes was really unique. You couldn't fake it. Okay. And she read some of the books from the Bible that have been, you know, banned, and came back to me. I know who I am. I am this angel because Satan rescued me from hell. And it was like, you just read a book. I remembered it. And it's like, okay. And the whole time I'm sitting there going, okay, this is a firm example of why their advice is not to go looking for yourself until you've got yourself. Gotcha. And there's been more than one time, like when the first LOTR movie came out in the community I was in at the time, I predicted, I was like, you watch, we're going to have an influx of Tolkien elves. They're all going to come claiming they're Tolkien elves because they remember these lives as Tolkien elves. And sure enough, in came the Tolkien elves. You know, just, you don't do that. That's backwards. Don't do it that way. So I've always been really careful. I mean, I did, you know, I already had my facts and memories of things I'd done as linear as I could by the time I read the Bhagavatam and found things I remembered in there. And that's, you know, that's just how it is. But that wasn't enough. I mean, deep down inside, I knew that was not the quote-unquote history I was looking for. I mean, my instinct said I was looking for a photo, believe it or not. And I was like, okay, well, maybe there are photos of me with the handlers on one of my MILAB trips or something, and so I would look for things here and I would look for things there. Of course, I would never find a thing. I mean, there was about 5 years ago, I suddenly had this thing. Get your hair nice, do your nails nice, and get to bed dressed. Okay. So I did that, and I woke up the next day really drug out. There's a feeling you get from the time travel when they do time travel. It's like jet lag times 10. And I had it all weekend. And I knew I'd went somewhere, and I had done my nails really nice. I mean, it was the first time I had tried doing my own nails, like fake nails before, never could. This time it was like the instincts just took over, and I looked prim and professional and not like me at all. And then I found out that they had a secret meeting, and the news was all about it because nobody had been allowed in, and to this day we don't know what was discussed. You know, but the government had a secret meeting, and apparently I went with French manicured nails. I wonder what I did. I theorize I served coffee. But so I looked for pictures of that, and I've dug up old McCulture photos looking and hunting, and it's funny, you know, because you're like, well, what the heck? And you're like, well, maybe I've been twinned, and this face is haunting me as this other person. So you look at that pictures of famous people or whatever, and none of them have your face, none of them. And you know, the face just kind of haunts you, like right there. You know, and I've been drawing myself in incarnations all over the place to the point that I was actually able to go, well, you know, there's a tilt of the chin, there's a tilt of the nose, and sure, that's anime style, but I knew. I knew I was out there, but I don't know, you just kind of give up. The memories, you know, they're there, and you draw stuff before you're even aware. This is what it's like to be haunted by the face. I mean, there's the face, you know, and there's the events, and there's being tortured, and it's there. So then one day you're like, okay, you know, and you give up, and you're like, I'm never going to find this photo. I'm never going to find me. And I know myself is saying that there's something out there, and it is a photo, and it is there. And then you accidentally stumble across this historical site looking for something completely unrelated. And you read your life, everything. And you're amazed at how hard you had worked to remember and how close you got some stuff, right down to the name of your husband. The name you finally chose is phonetically similar. Not quite the same name, but phonetically similar. And being a widow, certain activities, a war, you name it, it's all there. And then, to your shock and delight, you find your face. Don't let people invalidate you. When you're haunted by your memory, don't roll in it. Because I didn't find this until I stopped rolling. You have to be in a place where you can accept it when you do find it. And no matter how humble the life, this isn't a very humble life. She started out humble. It's not that humble. But even if it turns out you were just a ditch digger, if it really is, you know, when you get that and you realize it's you and the data settles in place and everything that never made sense that was in your head is finally confirmed, you're gonna experience a joy, because it's like, I know who I am. I know who I am. I am red, who came from blue. And when I was red, I remembered being blue. And because I remembered being blue, and because I looked at the state of the world around me, I chose to do something. And that is the greatest joy. That is a great joy. Don't be afraid. Don't listen to the dogma of how you only live once or whatever. All that is just dogma. And I don't know if it was created specifically to hold you down like some people claim, but it does hold you down and it does hold you back. Now, there are indeed people who only live once. They are tendrils. They come from a bigger creature and come and live here for a while, and they rejoin their source, and good for them. But then there's the rest of us. And those of you that are like me, if you're haunted by, I don't know, a volcano erupting or a seashell that you remember, don't be afraid to keep looking. Have faith, but follow the 3 rules. 1, don't go proclaiming, not unless you're absolutely sure. This time I'm absolutely sure. 2, don't go trying to find other stories and make it up and force it to fit. Don't go reading something when you don't really know that you belong there and then decide that you belong there. It's anything you get from that, you're going to have to suspect, is it real? 3, don't force it. Finally found my face when I stopped trying to force it. Don't force it. And you can do it without hypnosis. You just have to trust your inner being and listen to what your soul is telling you. So there's my face. Aren't I pretty? You know I'm pretty. I'm pretty.